Okay, we'll call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission to order. Today is Wednesday, December 15th of 2021. If one of you gentlemen would like to get started there.
Okay, upon review of the commission minutes for December 1st of this year, I motion to approve those.
Okay, that motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of the exonerations as presented by the Nicholas County Assessor, move to approve accordingly.
Okay, that motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of the state and fiduciary matters as presented by the Nicholas County Clerk, move to approve accordingly unless otherwise noted.
Okay, that motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon submission of the budget revisions received from the elected officials and department heads, the commission will take appropriate action as deemed necessary.
Christmas adjustment. That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry.
Upon review of the invoices as submitted by various department offices, the commission will take the appropriate action as deemed necessary.
Okay, that motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry. We now have a discussion concerning Christmas and New Year's holiday schedule adjustment. Of course, the state. Yes, thank you very much. So the state changed their schedule, and we just pretty much agree to do what the state does. And then, so the courthouse, as long as the commission approves, will be closing noon on the 23rd, and then I presume being closed on the 24th, and then just off on the 24th, noon on the Wednesday before New Year's.
Yes, on the 29th.
Or yes, sorry.
Noon on the 29th, and then off on December 30th for New Year's. Right?
It is 30th and 31st. Yeah.
29th.
29th is Wednesday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it noon on the Thursday for that too?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so it'd also be noon on December 30th and off on the 31st.
Big Jim might just give
I
us
thought instead of working half a day,
In and out
he was taking
holidays.
a whole day. I never thought that
On the day before, but he added a whole other half a day on
He
top.
had the extra half day on it?
Yeah.
I wasn't familiar with that.
Yeah,
New Year's too, or just Christmas?
Christmas and
It
New
was,
Year's.
it was both. I am
Yes.
familiar with that. It was both. So they're now basically getting a day and a half off. I thought it went from a half to a day. Okay.
Right, yeah, so from a day to a day and a half. So is there any objection to that?
No.
Okay. Hearing that, that will be the order of the business. Here's your agenda back for us to roll it up. Up next, we have County Clerk Robert Painter with concerning the changes in the magisterial districts, precincts, and polling place locations for Nicholas County. So if you'd like to describe what you brought before us here today.
Yes, sir. I have prepared an order. I've actually prepared two orders. They incorporate all our precinct changes in both orders. The only difference between the two is one reflects map 3, one reflects map 4.
Okay.
So you all can discuss, choose your order, and
I reviewed that yesterday. Of course, we had our two public hearings for this matter in both cities of the county. It's clear that each commissioner has had much to think about in this issue over the last few weeks. I will say that I find it very unfortunate that this issue has become riddled with so much conflict and division that this county has seen for far too long. I personally am going to stand in favor of option number 3. When you know, we can manipulate the numbers all day, but when you want to talk about the population, the territory, contiguous, it lines up the most. And so that's what I think we have to look at as a commission. And I'm requesting a motion to approve option number 3 that does move precincts 3 into Gully and 8 into Cherry. And that's where I stand.
I will make the motion, we accept number 3. And I would like to explain my answer.
Okay, so that motion's on the floor, and now, is there any discussion?
Yes. This has been the hardest decision in my life. One of the biggest complaints of this that I've heard from people is Ridgewood's not represented. I'm from the Birch District, and if I go the other way, I'm not representing my district. So it's the same thing. I hate what's happened. I think number 4 is probably the best choice, but it's not for this day and time. And this stuff has to stop in this county. This division has to stop. I've got friends and family who probably won't speak to me after this vote today. It's got to end. These kids want these schools. The parents want to fight. The parents want the problems. We have got to settle this and get these kids in these schools. And this vote the other way is going to give an unfair advantage in an election that I can't be part of. And I'm sorry to the people that feel odd against me for this, but you know, today's my mom's birthday and she hated conflict. So I want conflict to stop. And let's get our county back together.
I will also explain my position. My position was that also I think the division has to stop. And I felt that putting the county back like it was in the past would stop the division. Everybody had their representatives from their districts, okay? And I feel that our forefathers had it right on what they did on laying out this county and how the voting, the magisterial districts were. And I feel that it's a fair plan, that everybody has someone from their magisterial district that's in that, that they can feel like they have a voice. And I do feel that in the long run, this is our best way to go. I know that there are issues that we have at hand today. And I'll tell you this, there isn't anything that we haven't discussed. It is a super tough decision. And I will have to stand with my district that represented me. Yes, as I should. Okay.
Understood. And I guess to further explain myself too, while we're at it, Commissioners Chapman and Atkins, I appreciate your heartfelt comments, really, and I think we all need to. You know, I'm from Golly. I don't even have a high school or middle school in my district. I understand the school issue. I understand both sides. But I cannot, in good conscience, interject this commission's will in an election that should be the people's. There's still going to be an election in May. If people are not comfortable with current leadership in any position. We have elections for a reason. We are a republic. We are a republic. I mean, you know, I'm the youngest commissioner in modern state history. If I wanted to say I wanted to stick with the past, I wouldn't have ran, with the utmost respect to my previous competition. I think we need to look forward. Just for example, when you want to talk about territory, the variance of map 4 is 154 square miles. The variance of map 3 is 52. On population, map 4 has a variance of 229, map 3 has a variance of 97. Contiguous, according to Black's Law Dictionary, 2nd edition, is in close proximity and actual close contact, touching, bordered, or traversed by. And the definition of traversed is to move or travel through, not to drive through. And there's been many concerns about, you know, dividing political subdivisions. We're fixing that with putting Richwood back together as they have requested. I mean, you know, there's a 5% buffer, but it says you're supposed to get as close as you can, and so that's what I've got to look at. And some will see it very fortunate, some will see it very unfortunate. But map 3 lines up the most to me. So that being said, is there any other discussion? Questions from legal guys?
Yes, sir.
That being said, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against?
Nay.
The motion does carry with 2-1. Thank you. That being said, we do have County Clerk here with the proposals in the ordinances that he had, or the orders, I apologize there. We had to craft a new magisterial district, or I'm sorry, precinct, voting precinct. I had it in my head. We had to create a new voting precinct. The way that the House of Delegates redistrict their districts, they went away from our precincts and moved to census tracts. So hopefully down the road this won't happen again, but there is another precinct added. It's number 36. And it's in the Levacy area. And where will they be voting?
They're gonna still wanna vote in the same place, which is
Levacy People's
People's
Place.
Place.
Okay. We'll just have 2 precincts in the same building.
Okay.
It's what used to be precinct 30, is now split into 36 and 30, because they have different. With that, we need election equipment to plow the new precinct. We need a DS200 tabulator and an express vote machine for ADA compliance.
Give me an idea how much it is today? Is it on this?
Yes.
$11,240.
Did we get any of that money back from the state or anything?
Probably not. I will check.
Because
they
before I
kinda
know
called
yeah. And before the Secretary of State reimbursed you, right?
They reimbursed us half of the cost of the equipment after we bought it.
Okay.
I think we got some money back that we didn't anticipate getting back from that deal. Okay.
We got it back afterwards.
We got it back afterwards, yeah.
And I think we were the only county in the state that got reimbursed. Because the money wasn't available until after we bought the equipment, but they let us go back. The real reason, just to put it out there, was we signed a loan,
Mhm.
4-year loan.
Yeah.
And they, since we still had payments on it, they let us get that grant.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But I haven't heard anything yet about them making that available, but I'm always sure.
Well, we need to go
Yeah,
ahead and get
if
it.
you can, we gotta have, you're right. And then if you can see if we could get reimbursed on half or full, whatever.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And you're both correct. I mean, it's been caused by the state, the way that they redid their money.
Well, we certainly need, before we got our new machines, I think we were the last county to report the 1 year to the breakdown. We had to wait till
Yeah.
Fed got theirs finished and bring the parts up.
2016, we were in the bottom 5 of the counties, one of the last 5 counties to report.
Yeah.
2018, we were in the top 5. One of
Like
them.
second or third, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good equipment has something to say.
Where do you take the funds from?
You have it or do you need it? Did you read it?
Did you say you needed it?
Cole Severance, what do you think?
I think we need to come. This
General County?
general funds,
Commissioner Chapman, is that okay with you?
Sure.
Okay.
because that's really what it is.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
You have a line in general county for capital outlay.
Okay.
That's all right, you all take it out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We're good. Capital.
Yeah.
County commission capital outlay.
That being said, is there a motion on this item?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, that motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion?
Commissioner,
Sir.
a comment. The irony of that law says that the county shall have that equipment. But
Yeah.
the fact that the state law, the fact that the state's not willing to pay for it is complexity.
We see that a lot around here, don't we? We do.
Yeah.
But you're correct.
That's definitely true. It's an unfunded mandate.
Okay. Did you make a motion?
Yes, I did.
Okay, the motion is on the floor, Commissioner Atkins. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry, and thank you for having that ready. You too. Let me accept and take a quick break.
Okay.
Okay, we're here now with Mr. John Tuggle of Region 4.
Wait a minute. You need to talk about the barrel.
Farrell.
Oh, okay, so Farrell and I actually talked there for a minute. We're still working on his generator grant, and so he and I are gonna work on that, if that's okay with you all, to try and see if we have some options of just a donation rather than have to buy outright, if that's acceptable.
Oh, yeah.
And that idea was spurred by Commissioner Atkins, I want to give credit where credit's due. If that's okay, we will work on that a little further.
Yeah.
Now we're here with John Tucker. With the Region 4 Planning and Development Council, the discussion concerning advertising consultant, an internet service provider for ARPA broadband projects.
Thank you for giving us time. I'll try to be brief. The ARPA money the state has is currently in 3 different tranches, but all of that money that's available up there, the applications are due January 31, which is right now almost. Those applications are pretty well contingent upon having an internet service provider in your area willing to work with you on an application. Most of the application is financials and operational information that shows that you can serve the customers that are needed. The program goes by a map that has targeted unserved customers in the county. This particular ad would be for an ISP to work with a consultant that we actually help, you guys that we had you give a few bucks for them to look at the entire county. They'll work with that consultant once you get an ISP and decide where they can afford to go with an application for the state money. If we can get it in. I mean, it's entirely up to them how fast they can move with getting their financial information in the queue. Now, I do know at least one ISP has been looking at Nicholas County for a few weeks, already for that purpose. Therefore, the county needs to go ahead and officially procure an internet service provider that you would want to work with. And we help with that procurement as far as making the advertisement. We'll even pay for the advertisement and help you go through that process. You'll either have to select them yourselves or establish a committee or something to look at the proposals when they come in. They'll have to be pretty fast track as far as that goes. And then once they get on board, then again, that I know at least one's already looking. There may be others already looking at Nicholas County. It's contingent on whether they can get here or not. If they're not adjacent to Nicholas County already with service somewhere, they can't afford to come from the west end of West Virginia to Nicholas. So there's only certain ones that will even be involved, or actually you'll be lucky to get one good one and maybe 2 that can get here. I mean, we went through that at Richwood.
We just went through that
with CDBG, where we only had one really interested down there. So,
well, is this the type of thing that the money that the county will own the equipment, or is this the one that the ISP will own the equipment?
There'll be an O&M agreement with you end up owning the equipment if you invest in it. I mean, we'll get into those details later. You're not committing the county to anything right now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just trying to take advantage of that grant money if you so choose. There will be, there's a 25% match, which will, in other situations we're already looking at, the ISPs are willing to put in their rate structure what it takes to borrow the money for that match, that cash match. But, they will go through a bank or something. Usually the way that works is, when I say they'll have an O&M agreement with, it would probably be the building commission in here in Nicholas County that would do the borrowing for that. And then you would have the agreements with leases that their revenue stream would pay that money back. That's how that would work. That's what's one avenue, but that's the way pretty much it's going to end up, probably.
Okay.
So you will be looking at that down the road. You're not committing to that right now, but if you want broadband, more than likely you're going to have to borrow some money and you're going to match some of this.
Yeah, sure.
They're not. You can't expect the federal government to hand everybody everything. They're going to want some of it in there, some participation locally. But so what we're asking is for you, if you so choose, you just allow us to go ahead and make that request for proposals of ISPs to get that process moving, so you can select one and get in the game.
Yeah.
That's all. So I'll take questions from there.
Yep, I think it's a good
It
thing.
is.
I think
The only question I had,
we gotta
I
give them the
already
ball.
asked it, and you knew where I was going from there. Okay.
now this won't affect negatively, positively anything, the Richwood project. This is kind
No,
of like
no.
everybody else
And then,
kind of a thing.
once this goes in place, they'll look at the whole county and actually, there may be issues, not issues, there'll be coordination between counties. I mean, these guys, it's a network that's multi-county, multi-state, some of them. So they'll be looking at Webster and they'll be looking at Fayette and Greenbrier and all that as far as tying stuff together. But it's best for each county to do their own application because you can get more money. If you partner with Fayette, then there's pretty much a cap on what you can ask. So if you each go after it, then you can each ask for the same amount, and put it together and coordinate it.
And
So,
coordinate from there.
I'll make a motion to give him an okay to start looking for ISP providers.
And advertising for a
we'll
consultant.
do that.
Okay.
Okay, that motion's on the floor. Is there any discussions? Questions from legal counsel?
John, just to clarify, what we had talked about in meetings here before was the service and operations agreements between the ISP and the commission and the other entities. We're not there yet.
We're not
Just to
anywhere near
clarify.
that yet, but we are developing a model, to throw at you.
Yeah.
We'll have that because pretty much each county will have the same, pretty close to the same O&M.
Yeah, and certainly the
Situation.
commission, they're very interested in seeing that, but we're not there yet, just to clarify for where
Correct.
we are.
We're not
Yep.
there yet, and that's a negotiation between the commission and that ISP.
All right.
Very good. So that motion's still on the floor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Thank you.
John, always for your good work.
Thank you.
We'll see you here in a little bit.
We'll have a better explanation of the big picture this evening.
Okay.
Okay, we have now the approval of a resolution designating New River Gorge Regional Development Authority as our lead economic development authority. Pretty self-explanatory, a formality we need to do each year. Of course, by state code, we are bound to the NRG RDA, which they did help us greatly in our nursing home project with Stonerise here in Summersville. So I do want to show appreciation for that. Obviously a lot more we can always do to keep growing together, and hopefully next year that will bring some more of that. So that being said, is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Okay, we're here now with Mr. W.D. Smith from E.L. Robinson, Zach Wright from Thrasher Engineering, and a representative from Young Life. And you are?
Drew Bauman.
Nice to have you.
Thank you.
And this is concerning the Young Life project need for funding, so the floor is yours.
Well, I'll make just a few opening comments. John Tuggle, I think, John's here with us, supporting what we're doing. The Young Life project we run into a little snag. We're, like a lot of projects these days, costs have just gone into orbit. And since the funding was secured, we know that contract prices have gone up significantly. And that's what we wanted to talk to you about this morning. We need a little help. And I'm going to turn it over to Drew.
Sure. Yeah, I'm here just to tell you a little bit about the organization if you're not familiar. So, Young Life's mission statement is to introduce adolescents to Jesus Christ and help them grow in their faith. So we're a non-denomination parachurch organization. We're in 100 different countries, 50 different states. We have 25 camps similar to the one we're going to build in Nicholas County across the country, Colorado, North Carolina, everywhere. And so Young Life's really goal is to give kids a chance to hear about Jesus' love for them. And we're in Nicholas County at the local high school, Summersville High School, and, Nicholas County High School, and in Richwood too. And so when this camp is fully built, we'll have 30 full-time employees with benefits. We'll have 20 seasonal employees. We have a comparable facility in Lexington, Virginia. It's about 2.5 hours from here. And in 2019, so obviously pre-COVID, our camp in Virginia did 22,000 guests throughout the year. That's about 5,000 campers in the summer and 17,000 in the school year. So we're really excited about the project. Honestly, I often say my job, I work for the organization. I'm the camp manager, so overseeing kind of the camping operation. I often joke that my job is a tour guide for the state of West Virginia. We just get to show off what this state has to offer, and especially locally. Like we're on the Gully River, we utilize Summersville Lake. We're often, sending kids rafting on the New River. So anyway, that's kind of my overview. But in order for us to continue building, we have to get utilities to the site. We're currently running a primitive camp that's off the grid, so no running water, no electricity. And so we're kind of waiting on this water line to get finished so we can keep building.
And I'm going to share some information with you all. Two things I'm sharing with you. That's the current cost estimate of the project. The other document I'm going to pass out here is the current funding scenario for the project as is currently approved. There's two sheets there together. And a little bit of history about the funding application and how we kind of got to where we're at. We applied for funding through the ARC in February this year. And the funding got approved, as you see on this letter, in July of this year. And between February and today, material and installation prices for pipe has gone through the roof, and I think everybody's aware of that if you do the kind of work that we all do. Just the water tank that's going to be required for this site alone increased about 40% in price, and that's a $100,000, $180,000 increase on that scale. So that's why we're here. We've based off the current prices compared to February's prices, we're about 442, 500 is our estimate short on what it takes to get water to the Young Life camp. With E.O. Robinson and Thrasher, we've looked at other alternatives to save money, to go different routes, and I mean really everything that we looked at is actually more costly than the original plan that we came up with. And the goal here today is to ask the commission to consider helping bridge that gap. Drew went through how special Young Life is and how good the project is. It also has some benefits for Wilderness PSD and the folks out there, adding some fire protection to some houses and other things. But the main purpose of the water line improvements is to provide water to Young Life.
How much is the short count? I know you said it, but I can't find it.
It's 442, 500.
Thank you, sir.
And we should have had something on there that spelled that out clearly. Something else to point out, I mean, Young Life themselves is contributing over $400,000 to the project. They're participating. They've got skin in the game, and it's important to them. And that's.
And these are just estimates. So you have not put this to bid.
No, it hasn't gone to bid, and we're together with E.O. Robinson. We're in the design phase, finishing up the design. But yeah, these are the current estimates as we expect them. We've got a little contingency money in there like we always do, but you are correct. It hasn't gone out to bid yet.
WD has the other part of Wilderness that we agreed to cover the shortfall. As it went to bid,
It has not.
so we don't know what the cost.
No, we
will be.
don't know. We don't know what the end result that's yet. No, Craig, it hasn't. Very, very soon, but not yet.
You got a time frame?
I don't. I would be guessing if I gave you one.
What time frame do you expect this to go?
You know, if we get the funding worked out and everything, I think we'll be out to bid summertime. The design is coming along pretty well. You know, there'll be some regulatory hoops to jump through, but that's probably the time frame we're looking at.
I guess a general question I'd ask is, why don't this stuff go to bid before you come and ask for money? And the reason I'm saying that is because, you know, Nettie Levacy came in a couple $100,000 under what they were thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
So my point is, if some of these contractors see free money and all this ARP, the price goes up. But if you put it to bid first, then we check the shortfalls. I think, to me, that would make more sense.
And, you know, part of the reason I would say is, you know, the county has ARPA funds and funds available, and we wanted to at least let you all know about the shortfall and make you aware of the project, and that there almost certainly will be a shortfall at some point in time. Another reason is just kind of practical. There's a, I'll call it a cloud over the project if it's not fully funded, and there's always some reservations there, but.
Well, and some of the agencies like the Public Service Commission, and John, jump in here, correct me if I'm not getting this exactly right, that they want to see that your project is funded before you go to bid. And if you're going to bid with with knowledge that you've got a significant shortfall, it could be a problem of getting authorization to bid.
I can address that somewhat. When we go through IJDC and any of these agencies, as far as right before bidding, they want us to update the numbers with the estimate. They always do. So that the PSC, as DOD says, has a comfort level that, you know, when they approve a certificate for convenience and necessity, that they're approving something that's going to happen. So that's part of it. And, you know, as far as, I mean, I'm going to disagree with Zach a little bit on this is a Young Life project. It also helps the wilderness system a good bit, just the project itself in other ways. And we actually put together an EDA application that wasn't successful, that had sections that we were looking at potential other type development that this would help also. So just to let you know that.
So is there any immediate, other than Young Life, and I was actually in the Nicholas County High School chapter or club or what, yeah, I was actually a member of that. Other than the Young Life fulfillment, is there any other houses, communities, whatever, that'll be directly benefited by this directly?
Yeah,
or
there's
still be something that'll be down.
There's a number of houses that, it's not a large number, but also with the storage that Zach mentioned, it'll shore up the wilderness system in that area.
It improves the Zor pressure zone area significantly, because we're buying water from Gauley River PSD, and it improves that. It allows this system to be much more self-sufficient.
So it's a help all the way around. And I agree with you as far as wait until you get bids so you know what that is. I agree with that process, but our agencies want us, when they're moving forward, to have a good comfort level that, you know, we don't bid it and then we have to cut something out of it. They don't want to do that. My recommendation to you would be, I mean, if they're going to go to bid mid-year, you're probably not going to have all your stuff assigned by mid-year for ARPA. Just earmark it as a soft commitment and do
As
it
we
that
did with
way.
Nettie Levacy.
Yeah.
As a worst case
Yeah,
scenario.
yeah, it would be, but, I mean, you guys can do what you need there. But if you don't already have it assigned somewhere, you can sort of have a soft commitment that that's where it's going, and then if something takes that over, it just does.
And, you know, the engineers will push, we'll try to get multiple contractors involved in the bidding to try to drive that, to be under that current estimate, make sure we don't go over. Of course, you know, the market of pipe prices will dictate a lot of this, but you know, we'll do everything we can to come under that, and you know, we may not need the entire amount, but who knows?
question I had is, what other options do you have to procure this money?
Other than going back to major funding agencies and asking for more, Doctor, really not much.
Except fundraisers. I was part of a group that raised $4 million for Young Life in
Yeah.
4 hours.
Well,
You know, so
there's the Craig Chapman source of funds.
Well, now we're on the hook.
We only need 400,000.
Hey,
so you ought to
these
be
are
able to do
questions
that
we have to
15
ask.
I would
Sure.
say.
Okay.
He's probably- There's a few guys who get on that real quick.
Okay.
I would say we've got all your information. Let's table this, talk about it, bring them back and maybe at the first of the year and give you a decision.
Yeah, we can do some more discussing.
Yeah, and Mr. Chapman, we've gone to several agencies and gotten some no's already, so some of those pools are
Tapped out.
tapped out, so, that's another reason why we're here.
It'd be my preference, which I mean, we've already had two set of three at table, and that's fine. I had our legal counsel check. We have 2.4 million in ARPRA money, roughly still available. It'd be my inclination to do the soft guarantee, basically. But I mean, if that's the wish of the commission, I don't stand an objection to that either.
I'd like to look at their other options first. Okay.
And if you could provide any other options, it sounds to me like you're not going to have any more, like you've already
we
went on.
wouldn't be here if we had a
Right.
tremendous alphabet
understand.
soup of agencies and so forth that we hadn't already talked to. And we
I have
don't.
one question, and this will be directed to John. Okay, this is state money where the government granted, and Young Life money is what you've got to this point. Is that correct?
ARC's actually federal.
Federal money.
Okay. So what the governor gave, is that what?
It goes through the West Virginia, it's called the Department of Economic Development, but it used to be the Development Office. The money comes through the Development Office, but it's federal money starting out.
So does that take it to Davis Bacon Wage? That's my question.
It does. ARC does.
And even if we, let's just say for future reference, if you come in here for another funding and want some of the ARP money, is that, if we throw that ARP money in, does that jump something into federal wage too, because that started out as federal money?
It won't make any difference.
Okay.
So is there a motion to table this until a meeting in January?
Make the motion.
Okay, so that motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, aye. Motion passes. So we'll be getting back together.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
And we'll take a break. We're here now on the procedural matters that need to be taken by the commission here today. The matter of the Juul e-cigarette product litigation. So first up, we have a resolution declaring that the distribution of Juul e-cigarette product has created a public nuisance. Legal counsel.
Thank you, Commissioners. I come to you today to present the resolution that President Colt just mentioned, and then also a proposed agreement for legal services. And this is a contract between the County Commission and Webb Law Offices down in Charleston. And of course, the Commission is familiar with Webb Law Offices. They are representing the county with the opioid litigation. So they have done right by this county so far. The Juul e-cigarette litigation, it's somewhat new in the sense that this litigation is starting to pop up around the country. This is sort of a ground floor opportunity for the county. I've reviewed both the proposed agreement for legal services and the resolution along with Mr. Webb. This agreement for legal services calls for no financial commitment on the part of Nicholas County Commission in terms of a prepayment or payment during litigation of expenses and costs. This is an agreement that if there is a recovery financially, then the county will benefit from that. So I would I would advise the commission that that this is in the county's best interest for the Nicholas County Commission to enter into this agreement. And what I'll do, President Cole, here is the agreement for legal services. The agreement calls for your signature, name and title and date. And then Dr. Atkins, I'll hand this to you just for your review.
Okay.
That's the resolution that was put on the agenda, and that requires the signature of all three of the commissioners.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions that I can answer for them?
Just to note for the record, I notice here a 33% legal fee, but if no recovery by settlement or trial is obtained, client will not owe a legal fee or expenses. So,
I have one
nothing to
question.
lose.
If there is a settlement or a recovery, other than the legal fees, will there be a certain thing the money has to be spent on, or is it that will be determined by the judge or the jury or whatever happens?
Typically or historically, when you're talking about lawsuits like this, you all will think back to mass litigation versus cigarette companies. There was part of the agreement with settlement was that money would be spent on education for young people and so on and so forth. The kind of moving forward with the opioid litigation, there is a lot of that proposed, but there's nothing set in stone at this point in terms of restrictions isn't the right word, but just the direction that the money would have to be used at the local level for counties, cities, towns, the people that are the plaintiffs in the cases. It's going to be a lot more broad in the sense of how the county can use the money related to the opioid litigation. I think with this is going to be more, in terms of directives, this is going to be more like the opioid litigation than it would be the cigarette litigation from the 80s and 90s. Okay, so to answer your question, there will be, but I think the county will have significant say in what happens with the money.
And what is the, and I've not studied, I mean, I've studied a little bit about the litigation, but what is the issue with the Juul product? Is it addicting? You know, are they marketing just to young kids? Is it, what is the lawsuit all about?
At the heart of the litigation in this Juul e-cigarette case is the allegation or the assertion that Juul cigarette, the companies that manufacture these e-cigarettes have strategized their marketing to be aimed towards young adults, either people in their teens or people that are of the age majority, but young adults. So that's one theory of the case. And the other is that these products contain nicotine, which is addictive, and that's been, that's well settled, from the cigarette litigation back 40 years ago. So it's kind of two-pronged, but you hit it right on the head in terms of what the theories of the case are.
Okay. And you feel this is a good idea?
I absolutely agree with what Mr. Webb is offering here, and like I said, he's done right by this county with the opioid litigation, and in terms of stuff that matters to me, which is he's maintained really good communication. He's kept us apprised of what the status of this case is, of that case is, and that is a huge case. So he's done his job, and he wants to get in the business with the county again, and we've reviewed these documents together, so I'm fine with it. I would encourage the commission to sign these. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I only announced the resolution, but of course, as legal counsel mentioned, there's an agreement for legal services for the e-cigarette litigation, just so that's all stated. Is there a motion on the matter?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, the motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion? That being said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. On the second page of that one, if you don't mind to sign.
And gentlemen, while you're executing those documents, let me just say, I should have said this before, I apologize. What will happen is those documents will go down to Mr. Webb's office in Charleston. He will countersign the agreement for legal services that President Cole is signing right now, and then we'll get copies of that, and then we'll just wait for that litigation to commence. So that's what happened next.
Very good. Thank you. That being said, we'll take a break. Okay, we're here now at the request of Cassandra Lawson, who's the Senior Project Specialist at Region 4 Planning and Development Council, with discussions concerning number 1, the Craigslist Generator Project pay request number 8.
So as referenced, we have pay request number 8 for your consideration. It includes pay estimate number 6 of Master Service Corporation, the contractor for the project. This will probably be one of the last pay estimates that we will have from them. I know that we will at least have one more, maybe 2, but they're getting really close to wrapping up this project. There are 2 generators I think that they're still waiting to receive, but they expect those to be coming to them like this week or next week, and then they'll be able to get the installation of those wrapped up and then, you know, test all the generators under load and get this project closed out. And so their pay application number 6 is in the amount of $52,388.50. As standard, 75% will come from FEMA directly to the commission, 25% will come from the West Virginia Water Development Authority directly to Craigslist PSD.
Okay, is there a motion on this Craigslist Generator Project pay request number 8?
I'll make a motion.
Motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry. And then up next, we have the Craigslist Generator Project change order number 2 with a time extension.
Yes, and so this change order does not have any monetary amount associated with it. It's just to extend their contract time because of the delay that they have experienced in receiving the generators. They put together a really nice summary and included a letter actually from Cummins, just kind of, you know, explaining how materials are, you know, not readily available at this time. And so this will extend their substantial completion date to January the 31st of 2022, and final payment will be expected by March 22nd of 2022. And that, I mean, that's been recommended by the engineer for the project, so it seems reasonable.
Is there anything in there about if weather happens or anything, they automatically get it extended for a few days or anything like that?
No, there's not, but if bad weather would happen, they could provide like documentation of bad weather days. There's a standard form for that, and then they could do another change order to, you know, to supplement this one.
I was just trying to say people.
Yeah, understand.
Is there a motion on Craigslist Generator Project change order number 2?
I'll make that motion.
Motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. And then we also have the Hinkle Mountain Broadband Project budget amendment.
Let me ask one question.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many pay requests did we get them paid for the last time? Was it up to 4 or 5?
It was through 4, I do believe, and then 5 was most recently submitted. The 25% portion has come through. The 75% portion is still outstanding, but we expect it very soon. It's processing in the state system.
But everything's on board now, they're getting paid.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Then on Hinkle Mountain.
Okay, so we have budget amendment number 3 for the Hinkle Mountain project. This is the broadband project. And what we are requesting is to reduce land acquisition by $10,000, reduce permits and fees by $5,000 for a total of $15,000. We're going to move that amount of funding into your legal services line item, which will make it a sum of $25,000. So when we put this original project budget together, this honestly was one of the very first broadband projects that we had ever worked on. And so we just kind of built our original budget off of project expenses that we had anticipated based on our experience with other infrastructure projects. We didn't quite realize how involved the agreement, the pole attachment agreement with First Energy would be. We still have an operation and maintenance agreement to review, and we had budgeted funds for acquisition of easements and that sort of thing, but it turns out we really didn't have to do that because we were able to hang the fiber on the poles. And so this just kind of rearranges the budget to account for the amount of legal expenses that are going to be needed for the project. But you're still, you know, good within your budget. And so essentially we're just kind of rearranging money amongst the line items as it makes sense now.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we approve this amendment.
A motion's on the floor, is there any discussion? Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against? The motion does carry.
I want to just say for the public that this is the first one in the state that's been done like that, as far as with the county. And we've had a lot of legal work as far as being the first one to negotiate. I'm sure the other counties will follow suit, and we'll follow our example, okay? It'll make it easier for them. Okay.
Any closer to going to bid?
We are still waiting on the operation and maintenance agreement back from the ISP sitting at. And that's really the big thing right now, because we will need to have that in place before we go to construction. I'd ask the question, you know, is there any way we could just go ahead and get this built and then work out that agreement in the meantime? But it's been our understanding the development office really wants to see those agreements in place. That way they kind of have an assurance that once the infrastructure is there, you know, it can get fired up and people can connect to it and it be utilized, you know, in a timely manner. So we will have to get the O&M agreement with CityNet lined out before we can go to construction. Pretty much everything else is you know, in place for the most part.
Who's handling the agreement?
So we received kind of like a template O&M agreement, passed it off to CityNet. They had some, you know, suggestions for the narrative. We updated it, sent it back to them so that they can kind of pick through it. And then after they're done looking through it and they send it back, then we'll hand it off to Mr. Bischoff for his review to make recommendations to you all.
Any way you can speed that up? Let's change gears. Where are we at on the water project?
Okay, so did receive a list of outstanding easements for that project. Sent that out in an email to everyone. If you don't care to pick through that, see if you know any of those individuals. It's very likely that you may not, because the reason maybe some of them haven't responded is because maybe the properties are kind of an airship.
I know some of them. I looked at those
Yes,
names.
did you?
Good,
Yes,
that's
I
great.
did.
Okay, you know, if you don't mind to reach out to them, if they are willing to enter into an easement, it's a lot easier than going through the alternative processes. That is something that really needs to happen, knock those easements out. And the game plan is right now, the attorney for that project has sent correspondence to all of them with an easement to sign. If they do not respond by a certain date, they're gonna send out another letter. And then if they don't respond to that letter by a date, I think in mid-February, then they're going to proceed with condemnations for those properties.
So even like one confused me, and if you don't know, I understand, because this might be from
Yeah.
whichever company you're working with. But on one example, and I won't name names, but it says that they mailed an easement on 3/8 and that a owner signed for it. But now they're saying they had to send it out again. Is that?
Probably they signed for the letter but never responded to it.
Maybe if they sent it certified, they might have signed the certified
Oh,
mail.
okay, I see your sign for parcel. Okay, I
They
understood the
just
rest
haven't
of
agreed to
it.
it.
They never sent anything back.
Okay, yeah.
And sometimes you find that people don't understand that, because, you know, on some real estate closings I did, it held us up on some stuff because the guy didn't understand, he just tossed it onto the side. So it might take a little bit of personal, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at roughly 7 to 8 people, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, it
No,
was.
it's
That's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad.
Let me see the, can you
Yeah.
let me see
Yeah.
the list.
You can
That's-
zoom in like
That's
that.
in on that email.
Is it?
Yeah.
I looked at that same email too.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I said, I know some of those people in there.
Is it the yellow?
The yellow and
And
the
the
pink.
pink, both the yellow and the pink.
Yeah. See, that's a little while. Okay. Yeah.
But we do have a little bit of time to make this happen, because the Public Service Commission is still reviewing the project. You know, the city filed at the end of September. It can take them up to 6 months. So hopefully it will all kind of come together right at the same time. That's the goal, is to go ahead and get these knocked out while that's pending.
Just blows my mind how long some of this stuff takes. I know it's not
Oh my
you all,
gosh,
that's
yeah.
just,
And
government
so
procedure.
its condemnation proceedings are required.
Yeah, fix it.
Oh, yeah.
What's the pink? What's the pink?
The pink and the yellow are all the same. That, I had that same question, but
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
you know, that's what I've concluded.
Well, I mean, up there.
But we'll have to do an appraisal of the properties so that the landowners can be offered fair market value. And to be honest, it won't be very much because it's an easement. You know, they're not actually taking like a parcel of land, it's just an easement, so.
No, it's just a regular, it's not even like a 10-foot right of way or nothing. I mean, it's not like a set.
Well, this one here.
There
Width or
might
anything,
be,
yeah.
there's like footages on either side.
Okay.
So there's like a temporary amount of footage during construction because you've got all that equipment in there.
Right.
And then after construction.
It's just for
the
maintenance.
Yeah, they just
Yeah,
gotta be able
We
to
sell
get
cold
to
together, so
it.
he'll.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Very good.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am, for all
Yes.
your help.
Yes,
and everything you do.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We're really excited to see this one moving forward.
Me too. We'll get that one.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's gonna be great.
Garrett has to go approve the shovel. He's gonna get
We're gonna get it.
Yep.
All of us have to approve the shovel.
it. You're the one healthy enough to do
I
it.
don't know about that either.
We might have to get out of defining, right?
Yeah. I know, guys. We always thank you, really,
Yep.
truly, for all you do.
Absolutely.
And then, just for the record, the Nicholas County Health Department, which is next on the agenda, requested their matter be tabled to the first of the year due to the scheduling conflict. So that being said, we'll take a break before the public comment.
You're right.
Okay, we're here now at our public comment period, and we have Mr. Douglas Kreitz of the, concerning a basketball court in Craigsville. And just so you know, what we do is we, by law, commissioners are not required to respond. They can if they'd like, whatever, and you're given 3 minutes. So the floor is yours, and if you don't mind, come up here just so our equipment will pick in.
Well, thank you all for giving me an opportunity to speak. I've just become aware of the way this works today, and I thought it would be worthwhile mentioning. We do not have a playground oriented towards teenage kids in Craigville. We do have a couple places for small children to play at Indian Rocks and the Golly River Elementary School. And before Richwood High School started operating at Beaver Grade School, that used to be a park that I would take my family to enjoy in the evenings. And we really miss that. And I don't know what the first steps would be, and I don't know what property is actually public, but I just think it'd be cool if we could add a little half-court slab of cement, put up a basketball court for the public at either Indian Rocks or the school, or maybe the Little League field or something, so we could give teenage kids, you know, something to do other than sit and look at their phone. Get out and get some exercise, some fresh air, especially since the COVID's come about.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are concerned with tight spaces, this and that, and I just, for one, would like for my kids to get some exercise. So.
Yeah.
And I've even entertained the idea of building a court, but I really don't have an ideal place for one. And I think that we would see it get a lot of use if we just get it on the list, you know.
Yeah.
So that's all I had. Thank you all.
It is, one question would be, if you could find some place and get serious about this, is there a fund stream, fundraiser, something like that you guys, do you think you could raise part of the money if we give you some money or something like that?
I'd say there's a good chance, yeah, because I've actually had conversations with different people who have kids my kids' age, and you know, people wonder why we don't. But I think up until the school, you know, the big changes in the school system and stuff, a lot of people just took for granted. But you know, it's seen some use down at the Beaver Grade School. We were there a couple times a week. That was a great little playground. You know, they had a track.
Well, they had some baseball fields.
They had a little ball field. They did some little league activities down there. And a nice ball court. As I recall, there was a full court with 2 side hoops. So there would have been 4. You know, like I said, if you all don't know of the need, how can you address it? And I just became aware of this opportunity to to be here and mention, so.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think maybe, to your question, Craig, I think we probably raise some money. We get some labor, maybe get some labor involved in it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you all.
Thanks for coming
Have a great day.
That being said, we're at the end of our public comment period with no one else signing up. Two quick things I'd like to go through real quick. Mountain State Baptist had a wonderful performance of a live nativity all through Summersville. And she texted me, she said, I have a little thank you card for you and the commission. And it's signed there by multiple members that put on that here in town. And I just want to acknowledge, I know they have hours and hours and hours of work and what they put on there. I know I sat in traffic for about an hour and a half, but it was worth it in the end because it was a real nice performance. It's kind of funny. My wife Elizabeth's like, "Oh, they had a camel. How'd they get a camel here in West Virginia, whatever?" And at the very end, they handed out a pamphlet saying all the facts about that camel. So she's reading that all day long. But there's that, and then also just on behalf of myself and the commission, just wish the entire county a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And is there any other commissioners' comments?
Mention again, the courthouse will be closed Christmas Eve and half a day before that. And on the New Year's, it'll be closed on the 30th and half a day the 29th.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay. Good.
All right, very good. Is there a motion to adjourn this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission? Today is Wednesday, December 15th of 2021.
I'll make that motion.
Motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does pass and we stand adjourned.